This is the X-Man Tornado V4, something I didn't think Chi would need to make this year, as the Tornado V3 was actually pretty good, although there were some problems with the cube breaking and the magnets falling out of the corners, etc. It comes with two versions, the flagship version, which I have here, and the Pioneer version, for which the flagship version is $36, while the Pioneer version is $50. I will be going over the flagship version here as I don't have the Pioneer, and I also don't feel the Pioneer version is worth it, but I will still mention the features of both versions here. So speaking of features, both have the customization system of the V3 with its handle and magnet adjustment on the corners rather than the edges, preventing the magnets from being adjusted on accident in the event of a corner twist, and also adjusting the magnets on one side of the corner, also adjust the other one on that same corner, only requiring 8 adjustments instead of the 24 of the V3. The Pioneer version has maglev, UV coating, and extra edge magnets to help with alignment. Since I don't have that version here, I can't exactly say how that would feel at this moment, but maybe I can get that at some point and just see how that will feel later on. The unboxing experience is slightly more premium than the V3, with Chi now giving you a magnetic box that honestly almost looks like a GAN box, and a blank center cap if you want to add your own logo to it or even use it for blind solving. They also give you a flathead screwdriver to adjust the magnets on the corners, and that's pretty much it aside from just the typical things you'd get in a cube box, including a bag. In terms of how the cube feels, it pretty much feels and sounds exactly like the Tornado V3, except that the cube is a little bit more blocky. It kind of does still have that papery feel, which does go away when you do add some lube. Aside from that, there isn't really much to talk about the V4, but before I talk about my final thoughts on this cube, be sure to use discount code J at speedcubeshop.com to get 5% off your order. And now, let's get on to my final thoughts on this cube. So I've been using this cube for a little more than 3 weeks now, and I'm starting to like this cube at this point, but there is something that could make this cube either fit or not fit your turning style. I have been getting really good times with this cube, either pretty much similar to my times on the V9 or even slightly better. However, this cube is a little more blocky than the V3, where sometimes I do get lockups that ruin my soles, but I think that could be attributed to my rough turning style not fitting very well with the blockiness of this cube. It does take a while to get used to, especially if you've been using cubes like the Worm V9 or Tornado V3, which are a lot more flexible than this cube, so keep that in mind when buying this cube. However, the quality of life improvements with the adjustment system being a little bit more easier to use and the amount of adjustments needed for the magnets being reduced to 8 adjustments do make it a lot easier to adjust the cube and not make it so tedious. I have been hearing how not much of an upgrade the Tornado V4 is, and although I feel people are right about that, I think that if the Tornado V3 is as good as it is already, the Tornado V4 being that but with a lesser chance of breaking and being easier to adjust could make it worth it if you are getting a new cube, or like the Tornado V3 but want something with a less likely chance to break. If you have something like the V9 or V10 though, it might just be worth it to stick to those cubes since there isn't really much of an upgrade with the Tornado V4 unless you just want a quieter cube that you can use to cube in class, but make sure to finish your homework first.